gentlemen, welcome to Congregation Bet Eliyahu, where tonight Chazaq is honored to host once again a man that is literally a story that I've never heard before, a story that's very, very inspiring. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to change your lives, Morar Rabotai, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have the honor of hosting Rabbi Alon Anava, my life after death experience. So happy to see so many people come out, Baruch Hashem, on a Thursday night. Just a few quick announcements before we begin. Chazaq will be hosting events in this shul every other week, Thursday night. So that's the game plan, every 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to be having Rabbi Yinon Kalazan on the topic of love, the ideal and the reality. Married and single people alike will benefit from this special event. As regards to other Chazaq events and programs, this Sunday night, Chazaq will be hosting Rabbi Y.Y. Rubinstein at the Bet Gavriel Center in Forest Hills. Rabbi Y.Y. Rubinstein is from England, world-renowned lecturer. He's on the radio for BBC, and he's a very, very, very interesting rabbi. He's going to be speaking about laughter is the best cure in medicine. So that's going to be Sunday at 8 p.m. at Bet Gavriel in Forest Hills. And then on Thursday night, a week from tonight, Chazaq will be having Rabbi Yosef Chaim Schwab, who is the son of the world-renowned Rav Tzaddik, Rav Shimshon Schwab. That will be in Rabbi Olbaum Shul in Kew Garden Hills. Please save the date for that event. Should also be very interesting. The topic is Get Ready for Elul, being that the month of Elul is around the corner. That is Thursday night, a week from tonight. Then on August 16th, Chazaq will be teaming up with Shalom Workshop for a workshop for couples at the Young Israel of Kew Garden Hills. That's on 150th Street right off Main Street. The whole day from 9:30 a.m. in the morning with breakfast, and there's going to be classes and workshops with professionals till about 3:30. Keynote speaker will be Rabbi Yaakov Horowitz from Project Yes, a renowned therapist that deals with Shalom Bayit cases. But this is for all couples. Save the date, August 16th. And I'll do 2 more announcements because there's so many events and I could go on and on. But August 23rd, Chazaq will be having Rabbi Pesach Kron. The lecture will be taking place at the Young Israel of Jamaica Estates. Save the date for that, August 23rd. And last announcement is, again, there's so much more that I'm not mentioning. Visit our website, chazaq.org, chazaq.org, for all these events. The last announcement is that our main fundraising event of the year will be on September 9th, which will be our annual dinner. This will be at Terrace on the Park. The first year, I believe we had more or less over 500 people. The second year, we had about 700 and something people. And our goal this year is to have 1,000 people, but all to support the organization. It's a very entertaining event. It's not just a dinner and speeches. There's a little bit more to that. Whoever is able to come and support the organization, you'll definitely enjoy it. And if for whatever reason you can't make it, you can support the organization through the journal. And once again, we want to do more. We're not satisfied. Aside from all the lectures that we organize, we have the teens division and the women's division and the Parsha Bib and the magazine and the radio and the CD distribution, the libraries and the whatever, etc., etc. So if anyone wants to get involved with spreading Torah throughout the community, building a stronger future, please come see us. You'll see the website, chazaq.org. Visit us online, send us an email, whatever we can do. I think you heard enough from me. Without further ado, it's my pleasure to once again call upon Rabbi Alon Anava, who will be giving us an inspiring story. Let's do a nice, loud round of applause for Rabbi Alon Anava, please.
Good evening, everybody. We'll see if you can see me good where I'm sitting. Okay, this is better. Sometimes they let me stand and they don't understand that the lecture is 7 hours. And they don't realize why I have back pains. So I wasn't joking with the 7 hours, by the way. So my name is Alon Anava, and in a very short introduction, I'm going to share with you tonight the story how I became religious about 14 years ago as a result of a clinical death. My heart stopped, and for a couple of minutes I was out. My soul went up to the heavenly court, made a tour in Shamayim, and came back. Now the story is very, very long, and I try to cut it as much as short as possible. But previous lectures prove that it usually goes long. Now, the most important thing to take before I even start is that since the story is so long, and you might have a lot of questions, try to keep the questions till the end. Because some of you don't want to stay so long, they want to hear, and then they want to go home. Besides that, half the questions that you have will probably be answered as I speak. So try to hold questions till the end. When we're done, I assure you, you can ask me whatever you want. As long as they keep the door open here, I'm staying till all your questions will be answered. But for the kavod of the congregation and for the crowd, try not to interrogate me as I'm speaking. So that's the most important thing. The most important thing to really take and to understand is that what I'm going to share with you tonight is mainly what I saw when my soul left my body. Even though there's not a lot of words to really describe it. And it's important to understand that I remember every little detail like as if it happened this morning. The only problem is that there's no such a thing in this world, so I use my own words to describe what I saw. And it's as difficult as to describe a person who was born blind, never saw anything. Try to explain that person how the color blue looks. And it's impossible. Because you'll tell that person, okay, blue, you know what, the sky is blue. Yeah, but I never saw the sky. Okay, so the ocean is blue. Yeah, but I never saw the ocean. Doesn't matter how you're going to try to describe the color, he never saw it. So everything that I remember, there's no such a thing in this world. So I use my own words to describe it. So it's very important that you don't take every little word that I say and go home and say, oh, that's how it is. You have to kind of flow with what I'm saying. And since the story is long, I give a very short introduction that I grew up in Israel. And I grew up the most not religious you can imagine. That's how I grew up. I grew up hating religion. I grew up hating God. I grew up hating mitzvot. I hated religious people. If any of you know how the Israelis are in Israel that are not religious, that's how I was, times 1,000. I hated the whole thing. I didn't want to hear about it. Nobody was able to approach me and come and tell me anything that had to do with religion. And I asked before for some of the cards to be given out. You can see on one side there's a picture of how I looked 13 years ago before it happened. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So this picture is worth 1,000,000 words. It just goes to show you exactly where I was and where I came from. So for 23 years I lived in Eretz Israel. In Israel I lived up as the biggest atheist and not believer you can imagine. I didn't want to do anything with religion. I didn't want to hear about it. And when I was 23 and a half, I came to the United States. And the whole thing happened when I was about 27, going on 28. And the whole thing happened on a very special day. First of all, it was Shabbat. But more than that, it was on the 14th day of Nisan, which the 15th day of Nisan is Pesach, is Leil Seder, is when we do the Seder night. The 14th day is the morning, when you burn the chametz and you get ready and everybody's freaking out. That's the day that it happened. Now, when I was a little kid and when they taught me about Pesach, so they told me that 3,000 years ago, our ancestors were in Mitzrayim, and there were slaves, and then came this guy with a very long beard, and his name was Moishele, and he did some hocus pocus, and he got everybody out, and that's it, and that's why we eat matzahs till today. But don't really believe in it, because it's not true. In Israel, they call it Haggadah. Haggadah with a haze when you say it. In Hebrew, Agadah is a fairy tale. So they told me it's Agadah, it's not really true, don't really believe in it. The reality is that on that day we don't eat matzahs because what happened 3,000 years ago. The reality is that on that specific day, a very special godly light came down to the world and permeated the power that every Jew, for the rest of the history and the rest of the years to come, has the power to leave his own slavery. Slavery is not necessarily carrying bricks. Slavery, you can be a slave to your business. You can be slave to anything that you put, that you make him your idol. And that was the day that permeated the power for every Jew to break free from his limitations, from his Mitzrayim, and to move on to spiritual freedom. And that's the day that it happened. And it all started, it was Friday night, it was Erev Pesach, so we went to a party. We called it a Pesach party. If you saw the picture, you can kind of imagine what type of a party it was. We didn't really play bingo there. And towards the end of the party, somebody from the friends were passing around this smoking device that you smoke drugs with. And I really didn't know what's in there or what I'm taking. And I started to feel very, very sick. But not sick that I have to throw up or sick that I have to faint. I felt like I'm about to die. I knew I'm about to die. And there was a friend with me. I told her, we got to leave the building because I feel I'm about to explode. We leave the building. It was in Manhattan. All I wanted to do is go home. I call a cab. We go into the cab. I sit in the back seat of the car. And I started to choke. So I couldn't breathe. I started opening the window, thinking that maybe that will help. And suddenly, the whole world froze, like a picture. Like you're looking at a screen, and you stop the movie to go out for a break. The whole world became like a picture. Nothing moved, froze. And my mind is racing 5,000 miles an hour, and all that I can think of is that I'm about to leave this world. I know I'm about to leave this world. I know I'm dying, and I know that I'm about to meet this famous God that everybody was talking about for so many years. I'm about to meet now this God. And everything that I have in this world, and I had a lot. I had a lot of money. I had a huge company with a gorgeous car, beautiful house. Everything that you can wish for yourself, I had. I was rich. I realized that everything that I ran after for my entire life is all staying behind, not taking nothing with me. The car is staying in the driveway and the money is staying in the bank. And I realized and understood for the first time in my life that everything that I went after is nonsense. And I understood that I'm going up there empty-handed. That I don't even have anything to take up with me. The only thing that I could take up with me, I don't have. A mitzvah. I don't even have a mitzvah. Not even one mitzvah that I can go up and show something. And I'm thinking, why did I do this? Why did I waste my life like this? And I start running, all these thoughts are running in my mind like this. Thoughts of regret. Why did I do this? Why did I steal that? Why did I cheat here? Why did I do this? I'm realizing for the first time in my life, after 28 years, that everything that I ran after is a waste of time. All I cared about was money, parties, traveling, girls, nonsense. And the whole thing seemed like 20 minutes. 20 minutes that the world is a picture. Nothing is moving, everything is frozen. Everywhere I look, a picture. And I know that that's it, I'm out. And there's no words to describe how I felt. There's only one way that I kind of found to explain how it felt. Imagine a person, chas v'shalom, wants to kill himself. He goes and chooses the biggest bridge in the city, stands on the top, looks down, takes a deep breath and jumps. Imagine what's going on in that person's mind the second his feet leave the ground. What did I do? I just killed myself. No, I can't jump up. And I have about a minute before I hit the ground. That's how it felt. What did I do? I just wasted 28 years. Now I can reverse my life. I can go back. And I have about a minute before I'm out. And now what? There's no words to describe this regret. Wow. Out of nowhere, I don't know where it came from, I cover my eyes and I say, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Now not Hashem with Hashem's name, not Elokeinu with mamash how the pasuk, how you say it. And of course everybody asks me the same questions. If you are so secular, how do you know how to say Shema? So the truth is, Nachon, I was secular, I didn't know anything. But the reality is that our sages teach us that when the baby is in the mother's womb, there's an angel sitting with the baby, teaching the baby the entire Torah. The second the baby leaves the mother's stomach, stands the Satan outside, hits him on his mouth. That's why we have this mark, and he makes him forget the entire Torah. But the thing is that when the baby grows up and then the soul is ready to leave the body, that angel is waiting right there. Ah, remember me? We were roommates for 9 months, remember me? So that angel is standing there waiting for the soul to go out. So a second before a person leaves this world, he knows everything. The screen that is on our eyes gets removed. And instantly you see the reality, you see the truth, you understand everything. You have about a second to do tshuva. So I realized that tshuva I cannot do anymore. In order to do tshuva, you have to do actions. You have to regret, you have to pay back what you took. You have to do a lot of actions to do tshuva. I couldn't do that anymore. The only thing that was left for me to do is something that is called in Judaism hirhur tshuva, thinking of doing tshuva. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says in the Zohar that a person can do severe sins and that's it, he loses his olam haba. But if he does hirhur tshuva, meaning thinking for 1 second of oh, I could have done this, or some type of a regret, a second before he leaves the world, yesh lo chelek ba'olam haba. He has a piece in the world to come. He's opening some type of an opening for the neshama to go in and get some type of olam haba. It literally felt like I'm sitting in the back seat of the cab doing tshuva, hirhur tshuva, just thinking. And the second that I figured out that I have nothing else to do and that there's nothing but Hashem, then I said, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, to grab my last and only mitzvah that I can do. To say Kriyat Shema is a mitzvah. A man has to say it twice a day. The second that I say Shema Yisrael, I fall down on the girl that is sitting next to me. And you know, in the cabs, there's this partition between the front and the back. I'm lying on her legs, and I see this partition. And I suddenly feel that I'm like leaving my body, I'm diving out of my eyes, like you dive into a pool head first. I'm leaving my body through my eyes. And I wake up in this weird place. I don't see anything. I don't hear anything. And the only thing that I notice is that there's no sound. Complete silence. Dead. Mute. And we don't notice how much noise is around us all day long. If you're all going to be now quiet for half a minute, you'll hear the air conditioning running. You hear cars from outside. You always hear something. And even if you're in the middle of nowhere, 3 o'clock in the morning and all the windows are closed, you still hear some type of a buzz in your ear. And the silence was amazing. The most peaceful, perfect feeling you can ever imagine. The next thing that I feel is that I don't have a body. I'm like a cloud. I'm air. I'm everywhere. I'm here, I'm there, I'm there. And we don't notice how our body holds us back, and everything that I want to do, I have to move this body. And if I want to go there, I need to carry 200 pounds of bones. And I want to lift up my hands, 50 pounds, just to lift up a hand. I'm limited. And I feel I'm like a cloud. I have no body. I'm like flying, and I'm everywhere. And the next thing that I feel is that there's no time. I didn't have a watch on my hand. I didn't have to go anywhere. No meetings, no text messages, no WhatsApp, no nothing. Shh, quiet. So I'm flying in this place, I don't hear anything, I don't see anything, I don't feel anything, and I don't have to go anywhere. Like a perfect vacation. Now as all this is happening, which I don't know if it's a minute or a year, because there's no time, so I can't evaluate how long it is, but I still had my thoughts. Every person has their thoughts. Every human being has thoughts, and the thoughts are running in your mind 24/7, and they don't even stop for 1 second. Even when you sleep, even when you work, you constantly have thoughts running in your mind. Now if you're not concentrating on your thoughts, let's say you're working, you're reading, you're doing something, you're not concentrating on your thoughts, then you don't really feel, or you're not aware that you have thoughts. But if you're sitting by yourself in traffic, nothing else to do, you're sitting in bed, you're sitting in the shower, your thoughts are running in your mind. And you're thinking, you know, you have conversations with yourself, you tell yourself some jokes. Sometimes you make yourself a list, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. Sometimes you argue with yourself. Sometimes you say some lashon hara to yourself. Now if you're American, you think in English. If you're Israeli, you think in Hebrew. Whatever language you grew up with, that's the language that's running in your mind. So I had my own thoughts. And I'm thinking to myself, what happened? What is this place? How did I get here? What just happened? How did I get here? So this voice is answering to me, and this voice is telling me, you're dead. This is your death. And I'm like, what? That's how I die? This voice is telling me, yeah, you died. And it's kind of pointing down like this. Now there wasn't a hand, there wasn't eyes to see. It was more like understanding, like a dream, that you understand what's going on. There's no voices in a dream. You just understand what's going on. Some type of a comprehension. I understand this voice is telling me, look down. So I look down like this, and I'm like in the height of like maybe a ceiling, and I see my body on the girl in the cab. I see the whole scene from above, and this voice is telling me, you died. This is your death. And I'm like, what? That's how the story ends? That's how my life just stops? That's the end of the movie? Just like that? In a backseat of a car? You know, nobody really thinks of their death. I didn't think of my death. I never sat at home and said to myself, I wonder how I'm going to die. Nobody does it. Nobody sits at home and says, I wish I could die like that, please, please. You don't wish that to yourself. You tell yourself, I want to die when I'm like 90 years old, with 80 grandkids. And after I conquered the whole world and millions of dollars to give out, and after I enjoyed a lifetime. And if chas v'shalom I have to die young, at least give me a good death. Let me go on a motorbike like 300 miles an hour, crash into a wall. Give me something good. What is this? It was the most weirdest thought ever, that's how I die. It was like going in my mind like, what? That's how they're going to remember me? Oh, my friends will meet up. Oh, remember Alon? Yeah. Oh, yeah, he dropped dead in the backseat of a car. I was like, what? It was the weirdest thought to think that's how I die. And I'm floating above the body, and I see the whole thing, and I don't care. I don't feel any pain. I don't feel any sorrow. I don't feel anything. It's like watching a movie, and the hero died, and that's it. And as this is happening, I feel like something is like pulling me up, like an elevator that's like pulling me up. And I go a little bit higher, a little bit higher, and the higher I go, the more I see below me. And then something very weird happens. I feel like I dive into this girl's body that my body is on. I dive into her body, and within a split second, I see her entire life. From the day she was born, till that day. But it's not like me sitting like this and I'm looking at a screen and I see a movie. I'm in her body. And I see thousands of scenes. I don't see it like in order, like baby, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thousands of scenes are like going in front of my eyes. No order in the sequence. And I'm in her body, so I hear her thoughts. And I feel her emotions. She's happy, I'm happy. She's in pain, I feel the pain. And I'm hearing her thoughts, how she's like freaking out that I'm like lying on her. And as this is happening, I see like a little step into the future. And I see her, they're telling my parents that I died. And I see my parents crying, and I see my sisters crying. I see like a little step into the future. And a lot of people ask me the same question, and they tell me, listen, I can somehow understand in a very freaky way that you're hovering over the body, and you look down and you saw what's going on. But I don't understand how you were able to see the past. Or more than that, how can you see the future? And even more than that, how do you see everything together? That doesn't make sense. So the short version of the answer is, when the soul is in the body, the soul is limited to the body. So the body can only see from here maybe a mile. And the body can only hear a certain amount of distance. If you stand half a mile down the road and you talk to me, I'm not going to hear it. The body is very limited. The body can only carry a certain amount of weight. The body can only do very limited things. And beyond all that, the main limitation is that the body can only live in the present. The body cannot live in the past. It cannot jump back to the past for a visit. And it cannot see the future. But the second that the soul leaves the body, that's it. It's not limited anymore. The soul can stand here and see the other side of the world. The soul can be present at 50,000 conversations and hear the whole thing going on, 50,000 conversations at the same time. The soul has no limitation. The soul can see the past, the present, the future. So I was able to see this girl's entire life, every detail of her life, and what's going on in the present and a little bit into the future. And as all this is happening, the car is driving in Manhattan, and I'm like a magnet over the car. Wherever the car is going, I'm going. And the car is driving, and I feel that I'm being pulled up a little bit higher, and a little bit higher, and more higher. At some point, I was the height of like maybe 2 or 3 floors, maybe like the height of this ceiling, and I'm flying over the car, and I see the whole thing. And at some point, the car went under this overpass, like a little bridge, and I was so high, I went into the bridge. And I suddenly saw, I like calling it the graphic design of the world. And I'll tell you what I mean. Imagine you are looking now at a website. Beautiful website, gorgeous colors, amazing design, videos, pictures. You click a button, opens a page. You click a button, starts playing a video. The whole website is alive. What would you see, hypothetically, if you would remove the screen? What would you see? You would see the code that creates the website. Now, if you're not a designer or a coder or a programmer, you don't understand nothing. It's a bunch of letters, all sorts of letters that don't make sense. And how does it work? A guy sits, he writes down a code, he clicks a button, and voila, beautiful website. The same exact way, that's how God creates the world. It says, "Ba'asara ma'amarot nivra ha'olam." With 10 speeches, the world was created. God talks, and He creates the world. Now, God doesn't have a mouth. This is just a mashal, a parable for us to kind of relate. But God creates the world. Bedibur, ruach piva mechayet ha'olam. Dvar havaya shemchayet ha'olam. This godly power that creates the world. And how does He do it? He takes 22 sophisticated tools that are the letters of Lashon Kodesh, of the Hebrew language. He writes a code, and voila, beautiful world. And if for 1 second God closes His mouth, there's no world. The whole world disappears for 1 second. As it says, every second Hashem recreates the world. God injects power to the world every second. There's a godly power that enlivens the world. You can call it an energy, you can call it however you want. The Arizal calls it nefesh, nefesh chaya. We have it, animals have it, trees have it, stones have it. Everything in the world, in order to be created, has a nefesh, a godly power that enlivens it. We just don't see this power. We see the world as it is. But the reality is that there's a special godly power that enlivens the entire world. And the second that I was sucked into this bridge, I saw this godly power. Everywhere that I looked was just letters. All I see is like a code. Thousands of letters. And I'm reading the letters, I'm reading the code, and I understand what I see. And not because I'm Israeli and I know Hebrew. Because the soul only knows Lashon Kodesh. There's only one language up there. You don't go up to Shamayim with Google Translate. You only know, the Neshama only knows Lashon Kodesh. And I'm reading the code, and I understand everything that I see. And I see the world like a code. The godly power that enlivens the world. I don't see the world how we see it. And I see exactly how we learn in Kabbalah that each letter has a numerical value. We know Aleph is 1, 2 is Bet is 2. But then there's all sorts of combinations. Aleph can also be Aleph Lamed Pei, and then there's Tzirufei Otiyot, Chilufei Otiyot, all these combinations, these Gimatriot. I see how every letter is built from endless amount of more letters. And it feels like I'm there, maybe 50,000 years. 50,000 years of not normal information, that I'm like reading this code of the world. And how long does it take a car to go under a bridge? Like maybe a second and a half. And as all this is happening, the car is already starting to race down the streets of Manhattan. The girl already figured out that something went wrong. The car is already driving towards the hospital. And I'm being pulled up a little bit higher and a little bit higher and a little bit higher. And the higher that I go, I see more around me. At some point, I'm like the height of maybe 20 floors, 20, 30 floors. I'm flying over Manhattan. People pay thousands of dollars to fly over Manhattan. I did it for free. I'm flying over the city. And the same way that I went into this girl's body and I see her entire life, I'm going through the buildings and like, it's like as if I'm scanning the buildings. Like as if the buildings have no walls. Imagine you standing in front of a building and you're looking at the building, all you see is windows. Imagine you would remove the front wall and you would be able to see in each room what's going on. Every building that I like scanned through, it's like as if I saw exactly what's going on in all the apartments in the buildings. Like as if there's no walls. And I'm seeing hundreds of apartments and I see exactly what's going on in each apartment. And I see in one apartment, somebody's sitting and eating. One apartment, somebody's reading a book. One apartment, somebody's sleeping. One apartment, a couple's fighting. Each apartment, I see what's going on. And I don't see it like a movie. I'm like reading their mind. I see exactly what's going on. Like as if I'm sitting here and I know all of you what's going on in your mind at the same second. And not only that I know what's going on in your mind, I know everything about you. Every little detail. When was your birthday? When were you born? What's your favorite color? What you had for breakfast? Everything. I know everything about each and every person, like as if I have this personal encounter with each person. Now since there's no time, it doesn't take time, it's all simultaneously. Like this sophisticated computer that can process millions of details at the same time. And I always stop to say a funny story, that when I went on my first date with my wife, I told her this story. Now, I was about 70% religious. She was like 12.5% religious. The rabbi thought it's going to be a good shidduch. He puts us together. We're sitting in a coffee shop. And she tells me, I heard you have a very interesting story how you became religious. So I told her, you want to hear it? No problem. I'll tell you. Just that she got the long version. You tonight are going to hear the short version. She got the long version. It was like a 9-hour date. And we're sitting in the coffee shop, and I'm telling her all the little details. Now, she told me after, of course, that after that date, she went home and threw all her pants away. Now, not that she went crazy and started walking in the street without pants. Rather, she changed her wardrobe from pants to dresses. Now, why did I say that she was 12.5% religious? Because she grew up in the United States, very, very secular. Didn't have any knowledge about anything. And then she came to college and she met a rabbi on the campus who invited her to a Shabbat meal. And then he invited her to a Pesach meal. And then he invited her to a class. And then he invited her here. And he started getting her closer. 10 years later, she's sitting in a date in front of me. Now she told me, you know, that for 10 years I'm bouncing backwards and forth with this whole religious thing. And I didn't have a problem with believing in God. I knew there's a God. I knew I had a soul. I believed in all that. I just had one question that nobody was able to answer. And you, with your story, were able not only to answer, you solved the problem. And from the entire story that you told me, that one detail with the building, that hit the nail on the spot. And she told me, you know what was my question? How do you explain that there's 7 billion people in the world? 7 billion people. You want to tell me that God knows me? How can it be? How can he know 7 billion people? So you know, let's ignore right now all the people in the world. Let's just concentrate on the observant Jews. You want to tell me that on Yom Kippur, 3 million people in the same second are all in the synagogue praying, and God can hear all of them? No chance. Cannot be. Now if this is the case, then he doesn't know me. And if he doesn't know me, so why should I bother? Why should I be dressed modest? But he's looking at me. Why should I say a blessing when I put something in my mouth? Does he care? Why should I pray? He doesn't even know me. He doesn't even listen to me. What's the point? What's the point of doing all the mitzvot? He doesn't even know that I exist. So I'll be a good person. That's it. And she told me, when you told me that you, what are you? A soul flying in the air like a leaf flying in the wind? You saw everything that's going on in those buildings? Made me understand that so much more so how the master of the universe knows everything that moves in this world. Nothing moves in this world without the supervision of God. An ant, a little creature, doesn't move without God giving the message, the order. So much more so a human being. So much more so a Jew that screams to God, that prays to Him, that praises Him, that cries to Him. It's like as if it's just God and you. That's it. You talk to God, He's listening. You happy, He's next to you. You excited, He's excited with you. You sad, He's sad with you. You turn around and you say a blessing, you thank Him. Everything in the world stops just to, what did you say? Oh, you said thank you. Just me and you. And she realized, and now I understand. Now I understand that she's looking at me, so I got to cover myself. This is embarrassing. Now I have to thank Him for every time I put something in my mouth. He gave it to me. Now it's worth praying. He actually listens. So she figured out. And the next day she changed right away. Threw all her pants away. And for some odd reason, 2 weeks later, she agreed to marry me. Up until today, she's still trying to figure it out. Every night I disappear, come home at 3 o'clock in the morning. But no, she's smart. She has 50% of the deal. So up until this point, everything was good, everything was calm, everything was amazing. I'm seeing this divine information. There's no point, there's no words to even describe it. The giluim, this godly revelations that I'm seeing, human being cannot even understand it. And I'm saying it in a very, what I told you now is like literally the tip of the iceberg. But suddenly, without any preparation, without any warning, something grabs me from behind, and within a split second, I wake up in this pitch black place. I feel like 100,000 pounds is on me, squashing me. Pain that there's no such pain in the world. And fear that cannot be even described. I feel I'm like stuck in some type of this huge black bubble, and it's so thick that I can't move. It's like squashing me. I'm not exaggerating, like as if 100,000 pounds is squashing me. And I feel this thing that is holding me is like pulling me up, trying to pull me up through like this funnel. And the funnel is so narrow that it's squashing me. And this feeling being squashed into this funnel, not normal pain. Not normal pain. And it's not physical pain. It's more like a spiritual pain. And the pain was, it felt like the walls of the funnel are full of blades, like these sharp, sharp blades, and it's like ripping pieces from my soul. Literally ripping pieces from my soul, and I feel this not normal pain, and I'm screaming from the pain, and I hear my own screaming, and my own screaming is hurting me. And the thing is that I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what's holding me. I didn't know how I got there. I just suddenly woke up there. I was like waking up from this dream. Worse than all of that, and that's what was the most frightening thing, is that I didn't know if I'm ever getting out of there. Because there wasn't a concept of time, it felt like I'm there, I'm not exaggerating, millions of years. Millions of years of torture that I can sit here now for 2 days and try to describe it. It's not going to even be 1% from what it felt. And that torture was a result from one thing. That after millions of years of this torture, that felt like choking. Imagine in this world, a person choking. It takes him a minute, maximum 2, and he's done. I don't know if you ever saw somebody choking. I saw not too long ago in an event, somebody choking on food. You know, he could, it's a piece of food got stuck in his throat. He couldn't breathe. I saw him coughing. Till the first guy who ran to him to try to help him, I saw such fear in the eyes, because the man realized, wait a minute, I can't breathe. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. The man starts freaking out. I once saved a friend from drowning. I saw his eyes. I was on a boat. He was in the water. Such fear, because you understand, wait a minute, I'm choking, I'm dying, I have no air. And the choking lasts maybe a minute or two, and that's it, and then the person dies. This feeling was like as if this spiritual choking, that I don't have any air. But it lasted for years. And the reason why I understood where this torture is coming from is that after a couple millions of years of this torture, suddenly everything became obvious. Everything was understood, everything was clear. I knew who I am, where I came from, what I did, what's holding me, and where I'm going. I knew everything. From a very simple reason, that in the world above, there's only one reality, and it's called truth, emet. In this world, there are two realities, truth and a lie. And a person can create a lie in this world, and nobody will ever know. You'll make up a story, you don't tell it to anyone, that's it. That's the reality. But this reality only works in this world. In the world above, there's no such a thing. There's only one side to the coin, emet. You can't change, you can't turn the coin. You can't bend the reality. You can't hide behind anything. There's only emet. So I knew exactly what's going on. And I figured out that the reason why I'm feeling this choking, this suffering, is a result from one thing. I didn't even have one little connection connecting me to the source of life, God. Like a fish that you pull it out of the water, pull a fish out of the water, give it 3-4 seconds and it dies. It tries to get a little bit of it, breathing, that's it. The Zohar explains that between our soul to God, there's a rope that's connecting us, a rope that is holding the soul. A spiritual rope, of course. The same way that in the physical world, a rope is built from many, many, many thin strings, the same thing is that spiritual rope. That spiritual rope is built from 613 strings, corresponding to 613 mitzvot that we have. If a person keeps the entire Torah, then he's no problem. The rope is 100%. If that person forgot to do one mitzvah, he cut one string. He did another sin, cut one string. He did a few more here and there, let's say 10, okay, no big deal. 10 out of 613. The rope doesn't really feel it. But then the person does more sins and more sins and more sins and more mitzvot that he's not doing. He's starting to cut all these ropes. At some point the rope is very flimsy. Unfortunately, in this world, there are 36 acts that a person can do, and with one act, the entire rope gets cut off. One act. A person eats chametz on Pesach, v'nichreta hanefesh ha'i mea mea, and the soul gets chopped off. Not the soul, the rope that is connecting gets cut off. This is called karet. A person eats on Yom Kippur, works on Yom Kippur, drives something, v'nichreta hanefesh. A person desecrates Shabbat, v'nichreta hanefesh. All the forbidden relations, and the Torah goes into depth to explain which relations it's talking about. All the forbidden relations, karet. Circumcision, karet. 36, 34 negative to a positive. Some of them that has nothing to do with us. Has to do with bringing a korban Pesach. We still don't have it. We're going to have it soon.
So you felt cut off?
Yeah. That choking feeling that I felt is that I didn't even have connection to the master of the universe. The soul gets chopped off. Now the thing is that when the soul is in the body, it doesn't feel it. A person can walk around the street, do whatever he wants, steal, lie, cheat, kill, eat, do whatever he wants. Nothing, he doesn't feel anything. Also when the person walks around the street and does mitzvot, he doesn't feel anything. I don't know a lot of people that put tefillin on and they faint. I never saw anyone doing that. Not too long ago, a young lady came to our house for Shabbat. My wife told her, you want to light candles? She told her, oh, you want to make it romantic? She was like, no. You know, we light candles on Erev Shabbat. She was like, okay, like what do we do? She explains to her the whole thing. She lights the candle, and I see her. So I also look up. I was like, what, is there a leak? What's going on? She's telling, no, I'm waiting for something to happen. Told her, what? She told me, yeah, your wife told me that when I light candles, you know, I bring godly light to the world, and this. And I told her, what do you thought? You're going to light candles and a check is going to fall from the ceiling? It doesn't work like that. You live your life now for 30 years, you didn't even do half a mitzvah, you think you're going to light candles now, and you're going to be boosted here? It doesn't work like that. The reality is that when the soul is in the body covers the soul. A person can now say something with his mouth. Something, a little lie, a little gossip, something. He doesn't realize it's the damage he does to his body, to the soul. It works both ways, good or bad. But the reality is that if a person has no connection, or more to say it more precise, if a soul has no connection to its creator, while it's in the body, it's not going to feel anything. A person can now desecrate Shabbat, eat on Yom Kippur, be with 50 women. Doesn't matter. He's not going to feel anything. Everything's okay. Well, I don't feel nothing. Pull the soul out of the body. Within 1 second, the soul is experiencing not normal torture. And it's not because somebody's coming to torture the body, the soul. It's because there's no lifeline. It's like a baby in the womb. It has the umbilical cord. Without the cord, it doesn't get air, doesn't get food, doesn't get anything. Our soul is connected to God. God is the source of life. And if I cut this source off, it's almost like me not paying now my electricity bill, and then I don't have a light. And who can I complain? Yeah, you didn't pay the bill. So they cut you down. There's no words to describe what's this torture, because our mind will never understand. It's almost walking down the street and not breathing. You can't breathe for 1 second, you'll start losing your balance. And I understood, it was obvious, that this torture, and what I'm telling you now is bemet, maybe 1% of, I'm not getting into too many details, because I kind of want to get to the end. Later on, you want to hear some more details, I'll give you some more details. If you have, look at this card that I gave you, turn the card upside down. There's a picture that looks a little bit like a tunnel. That's kind of how that tunnel looked like. The tunnel was built, these blades that I'm talking about, this tunnel was built for millions of angels. Every act that I ever did, and unfortunately my acts were only bad, every act that I ever did, every sin that I did created an angel. And that funnel that I was going through was built from those millions of angels that I created. All my sins, all my averot, were angels waiting for me there, just for the surprise party. That was just the beginning. And the beginning was the little angels from nonsense, then the more severe ones. And they don't have a look. This painting is just to kind of picture it. Moving on just a little bit, later on we can go into more details. I realized that this suffering and this torture that I'm feeling is a result from one thing, that I don't even have one string connecting me to God. And God is the source of life. There's nothing else. En od milvado. There's nothing else up there. There's no money. There's nothing that can give you anything. You need Hashem. And the second that I realized that everything is just because I don't have that connection, I started screaming to God, help me. Get me out of here. I'm sorry. I'll do whatever you want. I'll be the best Jew in history. I have a beard from here till the floor. Whatever you tell me to do, I'll do. I'll walk in 100 degrees with a black suit. Whatever you tell me, I'll do. Now I'm saying it in a joke, but it wasn't a joke. I'm begging God to save me. I'm telling I can't take this anymore. I'll do whatever you want. But I'm stuck in this place for millions of years, and I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying millions. That's how it felt. Millions of years in this dark isolation. Nothing. I don't hear anything. I don't see anything. I'm isolated. I'm screaming to God, help me. I'll do whatever you want. At some point, after about 2 billion years of this torture, I see this dot of light, this microscopic dot of light. And here in America they say, it sounds like a cliche, but the light at the end of the tunnel. And as a joke as it sounds, you know what it is to suddenly see light after 2 billion years of darkness? It was like, oh, if I somehow can get there, then I'll be saved. And I'm screaming to God, help me, save me, I'll do whatever you want. And this light starts coming closer to me, and closer to me, and closer to me, and bigger. And the closer it gets, the bigger it is. And at some point, everything was this light. Everywhere that I look is bright, bright white light. And I know, with no doubts, no questions, no ifs, no nothing, behind this light is the master of the universe, with no doubts. And when I'm looking in the light, I see the light in the shape of a triangle. And I just know, the same way that you know something that's going on inside of you, this is called a hasaga, understanding. You're hungry, you know you're hungry. You have a headache, you know you have a headache. I just knew that that's master of the universe behind this light. And I knew that if I somehow touch the light, then I'll be saved. Somehow, I don't know how, something like as if a hand reached out from this light, grabbed me and pulled me into this light. And instantly, it felt, first of all, was not normal pleasure. Not normal pleasure. There's no such pleasures in this world that I can say it felt like that. But Bemet, really how it felt, I only found one way to kind of describe it. Take now a computer, or you know what, in our days you take a phone, a smartphone. If it's not connected to the internet, it's a worthless piece of metal. It's a camera. That's all you can do with it. Take pictures, or maybe write some notes. Connect that piece of metal, this phone, to the internet within a split second. Any question you have, anywhere you want to go, anything you want to do, anything, you just Google it. Within a split second, everything, all that information is in the tip of your hand. A second ago, it was a worthless piece of metal. All you did is connected it to the main source of information. That's how it felt. That I got connected to the main source of information, and instantly, with a split second, I became a genius. All the knowledge of the universe was downloaded into me. Instantly, I was a genius. Endless amount of information is running through me. I feel like I'm standing under a waterfall that's just washing me. Just information washing me. And I feel I'm like being like electrified from pleasure. Not normal pleasure. And the pleasure is seeing this information and understanding it. And it had nothing to do with this world. Looking back at this world looked like a prehistoric planet. Like we get all excited from the technology that we see now. Looking at this world looked like two little kids playing with Lego boxes and putting one on top of the other, and they get all excited. That's how this world looked. The soul is so advanced that there's no words to describe this divine information. All the secrets of the universe were instantly downloaded into me, and I knew everything, I understood everything. But this information came like in two channels. The first channel was that instantly I was a genius. I knew everything. The other channel was a little bit more interesting. It's like as if I saw a panoramic picture of the entire world. From the day the world was created till the end, one long panoramic picture. Genius master plan. Unbelievable genius who created that. I'm seeing the entire picture, like a panoramic picture, from one side to the other. 6,000 years of genius. And I'm being exploded from pleasure, just seeing it and understanding everything. Because when we are in this world, we don't understand nothing. What we see in this world is one piece out of a billion-piece puzzle. That's what we see. That's why when we look at this world, nothing makes sense. You see death, you see diseases, you see car accidents, Holocaust, terror attacks, wars, torture, all sorts of sick things, and a normal person says, well, what's going on here? Where is this God you're talking about that's supposed to be so nice, that is killing us all here? Yeah, you're only seeing one piece. You're missing the entire picture. Imagine you take a puzzle, 300-piece puzzle. Don't look at the box. Don't look at the picture. Spread the pieces on the table. Pick up one piece. Now let's see if you can figure out what's the picture. No chance. It looks like a stain. Why? You're only holding one piece of the puzzle. You'll never figure out the picture. That's how we see this world. We see this world, and everything that we see in this world, we will never figure out what's going on here, because we're missing all the other 2 billion pieces. So we judge the world completely the wrong way. Everything was connected. Remember when we were little kids, we had these drawings that had a lot of dots, and you pull up a line through the dots, and then it creates a picture? That's how it looked. Like all the dots were connected, and wow! Ah, now I understand. Genius master plan. Everything made sense. And I'm seeing this, and I'm like being exploded from pleasure. Just understanding everything behind this godly thought. But as all this is happening, I feel that I'm stuck in a bubble. And I'm trying to like grab this information that I'm seeing, and I can't. I'm totally isolated. I'm stuck in this bubble. So I'm seeing this not normal pleasure, just seeing it. But right on the other hand, I feel this not normal torture that I'm trying to grab it, and it's not there. Like a hallucination. I'm seeing it, but I don't have any connection to it. Like as if they're telling me, we're very sorry. You chose to be on the beach. You have no connection here. You have nothing to do here. You gotta go. It was such a tease, like taking a little kid and telling the little kid, come, I'm gonna take you to an ice cream store. Really? Yeah, I'm gonna buy you some treats. But man, really? And you take him, and the whole way you pump him up. I'm gonna buy you lollipops. Really? And cakes. Well, and ice cream. And cakes. Whatever you want, I'm gonna buy gum. Anything you want, I'm buying you. And the kid gets all excited. Then you walk him into the store, and you tell him, look, here's all the candies, here's the ice cream, here's the cakes, here's the lollipops. Okay, now we gotta go home. What do you mean go home? You just brought me here. It's like as if they did to me a tour of the universe, and I'm seeing this not normal divine information, and then they're telling me, you have nothing to do here. You gotta go. Torture. I feel like I'm being ripped out of this place. I'm begging, no, what are you doing? Leave me here. No, you can't stay here. They're grabbing me out of this place, and they're throwing me into a room, a huge room, totally dark. I don't see nothing. All I feel is that I'm standing in the middle of the room, completely naked. Now, I didn't have a body, so it wasn't naked from clothes. Rather, I didn't even have one mitzvah. Our sages teach us that when a person does a mitzvah, he creates himself a spiritual garment. It's called the levush. This garment, the soul gets dressed in when it goes up to Shamayim. And if he does another mitzvah, another garment. Another mitzvah, another garment. Chas v'shalom, that person did a sin, he makes a blemish on the garment, a stain. If he's smart, comes Yom Kippur, he does tshuva, he says he's sorry, he fasts, he does the whole thing. Yom Kippur washes off all these stains. Unfortunately, Yom Kippur only washes some of the stains. It doesn't wash all the problems. If the person didn't do tshuva, he goes up to Shamayim, and they throw him into the heavenly dry cleaner to get all these stains off. The problem was that I didn't even have a mitzvah. I was standing there naked, completely naked. And everywhere that I look around me, I see millions of eyes looking at me. Millions. Everywhere I look. Millions of eyes are looking at me like that. All the souls of all the Jews of all generations are standing there like a ring around me, looking at me. I'm the only wicked soul in history, and all the souls around me are righteous souls, looking at me and saying, oh, it was you. No words to describe the shame. I was like a cup, like an empty cup from glass, completely transparent. Everything that I ever thought, said, did, anything, everybody knew. Everybody, all the souls, millions and millions of souls, they see exactly how I lived my life. No words to describe this shame, that everybody knows everything about me. Worse than all this shame was between me and all the souls. Worse than that, it felt like this entire room is filled with the presence of Hashem. Our sages say, Umlo chol haaretz kevodo. The Zohar says, Velet atar panui mineh. There's no place in the universe that Hashem doesn't exist. The entire room was the presence of God. I felt and I knew God is standing in front of me. Nitzav alav. And I was like that. Like an embarrassed person. You catch a person doing something wrong, they put their eyes down, they can't look in your eyes because they're so embarrassed. I felt like God is standing in front of me. And if I just lift up my head like this, I see God. I was so embarrassed, I didn't even know what to do with myself. Now, I wasn't afraid that I'm going to lift up my head and I'm going to find somebody with a baseball bat starting to hit me. It literally felt like I broke God's heart. Like I'm standing like that, I can't look up, and it feels like Hashem is telling me, what did you do? What did you do? I sent you down to this world with a list this long of things to do. And a list this long of things not to do. Everything I told you to do, you didn't do. Everything I told you not to do, you did. You didn't even get one. I didn't know what to do with myself. I felt like my father gave me a mission and I sabotaged it. I broke his heart. I didn't know what to do with myself. With all this shame and torture, I knew that if they're taking me to the next room, I'm completely finished. And I'm begging, leave me here forever, for Netzach. Just don't take me in that room. I'll take all the shame here. Don't take me there. Sure enough, they take me there. They take me into this huge room. I don't see anything. Like as if there's something on my eyes. I know what's going on around me, but I don't see nothing. I know I'm in a courtroom, and I know I'm about to be judged for every act that I ever did. I know there are a line of judges in front of me. I can't see them. I see like this black wall. Amazingly, there's a Mishnah that says that when a person does a sin, he creates himself a kategor, a prosecutor, that goes up to Shamayim and says, he stole, he cheated, he lied, he took. That Mishnah also says that if a person does a good deed, he creates himself a sanegor, a defense attorney. It goes up to Shamayim and says, no, come on, chevre, be nice with him. Look, he's a nice guy. Look, he helped here, he did some charity, he did this, he did that. There's a whole fighting going on. So I don't know where I had the nerve. I look to my left, I see rows, like battalions of prosecutors. These scary angels, there's no words to even describe how they look. Each one is holding a file like this. For every act that I ever did, one angel is standing there. Vicious prosecutor. I don't know where I got the chutzpah from. I look to my right, and I see two defense attorneys. One was crippled, the other one was blind. The third one didn't want to show up that day. And they're telling me, you want to say something before we're starting? I'm like, what's to say? Did you see my lawyers? At this point, they're showing me the movie of my life. From the day I was born till that day, a horror movie. I'm back in my body, but this time in a very weird way, because I'm in my body, but I'm looking at myself. I'm like standing out of the body, but I'm in. And they're starting to show me my life very, very slow, like a slow motion movie, and everything that I ever did. Here you lied, here you stole, here you cheated, here you took, here you punched, here you cursed, here you did this, here you did that. And all these millions of the souls are all standing there. It's not that it was a closed door trial. And every person that I ever lied to is standing next to me. What? They're showing me one time that I lied. Millions of souls are, what? You dared to lie? Every person that I ever stole from is standing right next to me. What? It was you? How dare you? There's no words to describe it. When I was a teenager, I used to steal money from my mother to buy cigarettes. She's standing next to me. What? You stole from me? How dare you? Every little thing that I did, every little thing that I did is pointed out. Now, they're not only pointing out the actual act, saying, here you stole. They're showing me the act in the world, and right away, the spiritual blemish that was caused by the sin. I'll tell you what I mean. When a person chas v'shalom does an avera, does a sin, there's a chain reaction what happens. The first thing that happens, he didn't listen to the will of God. Avar al retzon Hashem. The master of the universe told you to do something and you didn't do it. When you think of it, it's the biggest chutzpah you can ever think of. How dare you? The master of the universe tells you to do something and you're saying, I don't feel like it? Here in this world, a policeman will pull you over and tell you something? Yes, sir, of course. A judge will tell you to pay a fine? Yeah, betach, matai. When do I have to pay it? Here the master of the universe tells you to do something and you say, I don't want to? I don't feel like it? I don't believe? How dare you come up with this chutzpah? The next thing that happens when a person, chas v'shalom, does a sin, he creates a blemish on these spiritual garments. If the sin is small, then the blemish is small. If the sin is big, the blemish is big. If it's the same thing over and over and over, the stains are so big and so much, it takes so long to remove them. Now, if the person is smart, he does tshuva in this world, and he starts washing off all these stains, all these hardships that people are going through in this world. They're doing them a favor from Shamayim. They're washing off all these stains. Because if you're not going to wash it down here, they're going to wash it up there. They take the soul, they put it in Gehenom, and they start dry cleaning. You ever saw how they dry clean a stain out of a jacket? They steam it with steam to get the stain out of the jacket. So if the person is not lucky, he has to go through this cleaning process up there. Some of the stains, they're so stuck, they don't get off. Imagine you're going to your wedding with a beautiful tuxedo, a gorgeous dress, and it has here a big stain, and here a stain, and here it's ripped, and here it's ripped. How would you feel walking into the wedding hall with a wedding dress looks like a shmate? Imagine that, times that 1,000,000, that's how the soul feels when they're bringing it up to Shamayim and the whole soul is full of stains. Worse than all this, when a person does a sin, he creates an angel. The Gemara calls that angel Malach Chabala, a destructive angel. Exactly how it sounds, an angel that comes to destruct. And that angel first goes up to Shamayim and says, he stole, he lied, he did this. And then that angel gets permission to come back down to the world and annoy you. So all they know, he's annoying you. So you get a ticket. And then you get a flat tire. And then somebody crashes into your brand new car, makes a dent. And then your phone falls into the toilet. And then a mosquito comes and annoys you all night, and you're getting all sorts of bites. And then you want to go on your first date with somebody, you have a zit right here. Comes and annoys you. All day long he comes and annoys you. Till you kill it. Worse than all this, when a person does a sin, he creates a spiritual negative energy that is called klipa, like a shell, like a peel. I call it a spiritual infection because it covers your soul and it multiplies and you have to kill it. And this klipa, there's many types of klipot. Each klipa goes and it covers your soul and it dims the light of your soul. If you would have to imagine how your soul looks, imagine like a projector of light that projects endless amount of light. And let's say you project 1,000,000 watts. And then you do one mitzvah, suddenly this light beams another 1,000,000 watts. And then you do another mitzvah, another 1,000,000 watts. And then chas v'shalom, the person does an avera, he covers the light. So he dims it. So it goes from 1,000,000 watts to 900,000 watts. And then you do another sin, and another sin, and another sin. At some point the light is so diminished, you don't feel nothing. The soul is covered with so many klipot that the person has no sensitivity to nothing. You come to that person, you tell a person, you want to put tefillin on? Leave me alone. You tell that person, you want to come for a Shabbat meal? That's a Shabbat meal, I'm going to a party. You want to do a mitzvah, you want to help us with a minyan? God, leave me alone. You see this coldness, this this klipa is taken over the soul. It totally shut down the power of the soul. The soul is dimmed, it's done. You approach that person, he doesn't want to hear about anything. It's not that the person is bad, the soul is trapped. You do more sins, more klipot, more klipot. You know what it is later on to start breaking them? Some of these klipot are so powerful. Worse than all this, when a person does a sin, he creates a spiritual blemish in the spiritual worlds. Worse than everything about what I told you. And I'll tell you what I mean. What's a spiritual blemish? Imagine now you go to Europe, there's a museum there that has a picture this big, worth millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. Because some guy 300 years ago took a bunch of paint, threw it at the canvas, went like that. Now millions of people are running to this museum to marvel this picture. And everybody comes there and they're standing like this. Wow, look how he went like that. What was he thinking? And there's analogies why that line is going like this and not like that. Imagine somebody walks into this museum with a bucket of black paint, throws it at the picture, destroys the pictures completely. Imagine what happens. You know what happens? He gets arrested. Then he goes to jail. Then he gets to pay a fine. Then he goes through a lot of problems. But that's between him and what he has to go through. You know what really he did? He destroyed the picture. Nobody will ever enjoy this picture. You can't retouch it. No Photoshop, no Schmotoshop. The guy died 300 years ago. He can't make it again. He destroyed the picture. Nobody in the world will ever enjoy this picture. That's a spiritual blemish that is caused by my little act. I do a sin, the entire universe. When I'm saying universe, I'm not talking about Mars. I'm talking about all the spiritual worlds and this world. Everything, everybody suffers. I make a stain, a crack in the spiritual worlds. There's a famous story in the Midrash that there was once a big ship. 5,000 people are on the deck. One guy in the lower deck was feeling a little bit stuffy. He started drilling a hole in the wall. He wanted some fresh air. They come down to him and tell him, "What are you doing? We're all going to die." He's like, "Mind your own business. It's my room." "What do you mean it's your room? Water will come in through the wall and the whole ship will sink. We're all going to die." And he tells them, "Mind your own business. It's my room. I'll do whatever I want." Same thing here. Sometimes you approach a person, you tell him, "You know, it's Shabbat today. Why are you desecrating Shabbat?" "Mind your own business. It's my life." No, it's not only your life. You desecrate Shabbat, I have to pay for it too. I met a lot of brave people that tell me, "I'll deal with it when I get there." Yeah, they really know what they're dealing with. They're very brave. "Yeah, I'll deal with it when I get there." The reality is, when I do an act, the entire universe gets affected from that. The lower worlds and the higher worlds. Good or bad. I do a negative act, everybody suffers. I do a good act, I do a mitzvah, I shine the entire world. One person does one little mitzvah, the entire world moves. The whole world is depending on our mitzvot. So they're showing me not the act, "Here you stole." That was like nothing. Look at the damage you did. Everybody's suffering because of you now. They're showing me a horror movie of 28 years of my life. Now, here in this world, it's very hard to relate because somebody gets caught that he stole something, or that he lied, or that he cheated. He doesn't get really affected. Here in this world, somebody will get caught on a lie. He's a bigger liar than me. You know, somebody gets caught stealing. Stealing? Everybody steals. Everybody does it. Nobody gets embarrassed. Very few people get embarrassed when they get caught doing something bad. But up there, there's no such a thing. It's the most embarrassing thing that millions of eyes, millions of these souls are looking at you. What? You dared put your hand in something that doesn't belong to you and you took it? 28 years of a horror movie. At some point I was like, "Okay, I got the point, cut it out." And they're telling me, "Listen, Habibi, you're a lost case. You have nothing here." And they wanted to be real nice. So they said, "Okay, look, let's get all the mitzvahs together, what you have. Let's see what you have." So they told me, "When you were 8 days old, my parents circumcised me. They didn't ask my permission, but they still did it." So they told me, "Okay, even though circumcision, it's not your mitzvah, it's your father's mitzvah. Your father has to circumcise you, but you were circumcised, so we'll give you a mitzvah." And when you were 13 years old, my grandfather took me to Yerushalayim to put tefillin on me. So they told me, okay, you put tefillin on, so we have a mitzvah. And one time $1 fell out of my pocket, and a hungry person picked it up and bought something to eat. So they told me, we'll give you charity for that one. And one time you smiled to that person, one time you helped that person, one time you did this, one time you did that, one time you did there. They were trying to sift, could find something. They put it all together and they told me, look, you're 99.9999999 bad and 0.00000 good. You're like a lost case. There's nothing to work with even. At this point I thought, that's it, I'm chopped meat. They're telling me, listen, you're a lost case, there's nothing to do with you. But we're going to give you a deal. You have two options. The first option, you go back to that black thing that brought you up here. This malach hamavet, this angel of death that comes to rips the soul out of the body and delivers it. You go back to him, he will finish the job, which that wasn't really an option. Or you go back down to this world. If you choose to go back down to this world, you have three conditions. The first condition is you have to live your life like a Jew. Now they're not telling me what type of a Jew. They're not telling me Ashkenaz, Sephardi, Breslev. They're not telling me. They're telling me Jew. Because only in Shamayim, there's what all the Jews are the same. It's Jew. Here, down here, we make all the groups. There's a reason for that, but in Shamayim, a Jew is a Jew. Now, to make sure that I understand what they mean, they're showing me a movie of my entire life forward, from that day all the way to the end. And I see myself with this long beard, with a black suit, then I see my wife, then I see my wedding, then I see all my kids, I see my entire life forward, every little detail. And they're telling me that's how you have to live your life. Don't come back here after 120 years and say, I didn't know. Nobody told me. Oh, my parents didn't send me to yeshiva. I don't know. Oh, that? No, that's not really a mitzvah. Those fanatic religious people, they're making it up. You see the line? This is the line. You can't bend the rules. You can't take off rules. You can't add rules. These are the rules. That's how a Jew has to live. Because all the Jews are the same. There's no difference. We all have the same Shabbat. We all have to put tefillin exactly the same way. We all eat the exact kosher diet. There's no difference between me and you. That's how you have to live your life. The second condition is you have 28 years of debt. So you know what? Today is Memorial Day. We're giving you an 80% coupon. From 0 till 13, we forgive you. It's not yours, no problem. From 13 to 28, you have 15 years of debt. To become religious is not to put a yarmulke on your head and grow a 2-foot-long beard and say, that's it. No. You stole, you gotta give it back. You cheated in business, you owe that person money. Go give it back. You cursed, go and apologize. You have 15 years that you have to fix up all the damages you did. And the third and final condition is if you have to tell every person down there what you saw up here. You cannot move to Alaska and live on a mountain. You have to tell every person what you saw. Now, I wasn't in a position of telling them, you know what, maybe give me a day or two to think about it. Maybe I'll consult my 2 crippled attorneys. Maybe I'll get a better deal. I'm like, where do I sign? When are we starting? When is the next elevator going down? When are we starting? They're telling me, no. Think good before you take the deal. Because you cannot come back here after 120 years and say, it was too hard. I didn't want to. It was hard to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go and pray. It was too hot to walk with a black suit in the summer. It was too hard for me not to lie. You see the rules? These are the rules. It literally felt like I'm signing the deal. But not with a pen. There wasn't lawyers there. It felt like I'm shaking my hands with God. You accept the rules? Yes. Shake my hands. The second that I accepted the deal, it felt like God pushed me. I felt like this impact, like as if a train hit me. And the second that I feel this push, I hear God telling me, "Ata chayav lachzor b'tshuva." You have to do tshuva. And the second that I feel this push, God pushed me into my body and my eyes open up in this world. And I'm completely out of it. I'm lying in a hospital. Doctors are above me talking to me. I don't know what's going on. I'm like totally out of it. The only thing that's running in my mind is that I have to do a mitzvah. I don't recognize. People are talking to me. I don't even hear them. I'm totally out of it. Like you take a person and throw him from the sky. But what was running in my mind is that I have to do a mitzvah. I have to do a mitzvah. Like a little kid that you send him to a camp, and the mom tells him, when you get there, give me a call that I know that you arrived safe. At that time, I had a friend who started to become religious. Every time that he met me, he told me, "You want to put tefillin on?" And I was like, "No." A whole year. Now imagine, you have to see how I looked 13 years ago, how you saw in those cards. Long hair, my body is full of tattoos, piercings all over my face, a complete nutcase. I have to do a mitzvah. I call my friend. 6 o'clock in the morning, was Saturday. He wasn't so religious. He picked up the phone, and I tell him, "Itzik, you have to come right now. I have to put tefillin on." He's like, "What?" I told him, "Itzik, don't ask any questions. Just come now, right now. I have to put tefillin on." So he tells me, "You can't. It's Shabbat." I told him, "Who cares what day is it today? Come now with your tefillin." So he's telling me, "What happened? You okay?" I told him, "Itzik, I said in the beginning of the conversation that the questions are at the end of the conversations. Just come now with your tefillin." He tells me in Hebrew, "Shtagata?" Because me calling him to put tefillin on me. I told him, "Itzik, don't ask any questions. Just come in with your tefillin." So he's telling me, "But you can't. It's Shabbat." I told him, "You're becoming technical now. Shabbat, not Shabbat. What does it matter? A whole year you're trying to put tefillin on me. Now's your chance." He's finally convincing me that I can't put tefillin on Shabbat, so I tell him, "So take me to a synagogue. I have to do something." And he's asking me again, "Ishtagata, ma kara lecha? What happened to you?" I told him, "Itzik," I said, "No questions." Finally he tells me, "Listen, why don't you come tonight? It's Pesach." I said, "Oh, that sounds very religious. What do I need to do?" So that night he invites me to a Leil Seder in Borough Park. My first Pesach Leil Seder in history. I'm 28 years old, I never did Pesach. For me, Pesach was 3 weeks off school. Because in Israel, they give holidays for the Jewish holidays. So I didn't celebrate the holiday. For me, Pesach was the best holiday because you get 3 weeks off school. Sukkot is also a pretty good holiday because you get 2 weeks off school. Purim, on the other hand, you only get 2 days off school, but you get a lot of candies. So that was my definition of Jewish holidays. How much days I'm getting off school. Needless to say, I'm sitting in this Orthodox family's Seder night. I don't know what's going on even. And I don't remember one thing from what I told you. Everything that I told you, I don't remember nothing. Complete blank. Now I knew something weird happened. For 2 weeks, I don't remember one detail. But I knew something very, very weird happened. Because up until this point, I was the most disgusting, rude, violent, vulgar Israeli. Every word that came out of my mouth was a curse. Somebody would look at me the wrong way, I would beat him up. I was this rough guy. Suddenly, I'm a nice guy. I go to work. "Hi, how are you?" They're all like, "What's wrong with him?" 2 weeks pass, I don't remember one detail from what I told you. One night, I'm half asleep, half awake. 2, 3 in the morning, suddenly everything that I told you now, plus the 99% that I didn't tell you, everything wakes up. Within a split second, I wake up, I get out of bed, I'm freaking out because I see all these scenes are running in my mind. I can barely breathe. Everything woke up. The first thing that I do, the girl that was with me in the cab is sleeping next to me. I wake her up. Now remember in the beginning I told you I dived into her body and I saw her entire life. I tell her, "Tell me, when you were 6 years old, did this happen to you?" She's like, "How do you know?" So I was shocked myself. How do you know? "When you were 8, that happened to you?" "Yeah." "How do you know?" Now, I didn't want to tell her how do I know, because in the beginning I thought I lost it. I thought I became crazy. So I asked her another question, another question, another question, every little thing. She tells me, how do you know?